Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
And we give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite sports icons and athletes. Hello, I'm Boom Gonzalez. You can watch the game live and our past episodes, of course, on demand on the Pilipinas Live app.
Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. Well, it's the calm before the storm in the UAAP Final Four. As we look ahead to this weekend's exciting matchups, we're joined by someone who knows all about the remaining four teams gunning for the men's basketball title. Welcome to the game, FU Tamarao's assistant coach, Mark Isip. Coach Mark, thank you and welcome to the studio. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
All right, Coach, before we talk about those four teams that I'm sure you know about, let's talk about the one team you know most about, itong FEU and your run here this season. 3-11 record.
Yes.
Pero a lot of experience gained, a lot of growing that the group has done together. How would you summarize yung season nyo?
A lot of learning. Not the game, the standing that we want to, 3 against 11. Plagued with lots of injuries, of course. Not the fairy tale ending you want for your seniors, the likes of James Tempra, AJ Gonzalez, even Mo Fati. So you feel for them, especially the seniors. You wanted them to at least make it to the Final Four and see what happens there.
Yeah, and of course, it is the first year of Coach Denok.
Yeah.
So we have to talk about him and talk about how, the dynamics of Coach Denok. How is he? I'm sure he's not happy also with, as you mentioned, how it all ended. But the whole experience, how do you think, pag nag-usap kayo ni Coach Denok?
Siguro nasa stage ka pa of getting to know, trying to instill the principles that you want for the team. The chemistry between, all of the remaining players and some of the additions, especially with the import coming in, wasn't there.
Yeah.
So the 1 year to prepare for this season wasn't enough.
Okay.
Of course, it's still now a bit more time to build from the gains had here. But then let's pay tribute first to si LJ Gonzalez because a lot of talk about legacy in the UAP as of late. We saw it with Jerome in the Adamson game. But then si LJ also someone that we have to give credit to. Just what do you feel did he leave the program moving forward?
That's my guy, a true Tamarao at heart, a King Tamarao. Never gives excuses. I've come to know this guy late in 2019, my first year as part of the men's basketball team. Works very hard, doesn't give excuses. He plays when he's sick, injured.
Yeah,
Is that
lalo
really
na
good?
last year.
Yes.
Grabe yun.
Yeah, grabe siya last year.
So when he steps on the basketball floor, he gives his all heart.
Okay, lastly on FEU, Coach, positives to take for next year. What are the positives that we can look at? Or you guys see?
The new additions, we have a new import coming in.
Okay.
Konate,
Okay.
standing at 6'9", 6'10".
Heard some things about
Yeah.
this guy.
Yeah, really good.
Promising, yeah.
Promising, good, big guy. We got, of course, John Ray Pasaol, you know him?
Yeah.
Of course, yes.
Coming from the juniors
Program,
and
yeah.
Godinez. I think all these three guys will play a significant role at our team.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excited.
So excited for FU next season and improving on that record and hopefully knocking on what we're going to talk about next, itong Final Four. And the matchups here, I think a lot of people would have predicted the 1 and 2, maybe even the 3 spot here with LaSalle, UP, and NU coming up as one of the teams that surprised a bit. Ateneo had to fight to get there, though. So I want to talk about Ateneo and UP first because Ateneo had to go through adversity to reach here, to reach this point. How do you look at this matchup against UP kung saan underdog talaga ang Ateneo?
When I look at UP, you can see consistency. All throughout the season, they've been consistent. They have 10 to 12 guys who you just could pull. That's how deep their bench are. They're the number 1 on bench scoring.
Yes.
Correct.
All
Yeah.
throughout, first and second round. And with Ateneo coming in from a do-or-die game against Adamson, they got confidence. So it's going to be consistency, versus confidence. Let's see who's going to win that battle.
And technically, when you talk about Ateneo, parang dalawang knockout game yung pinagdaanan.
Yeah.
Yes.
They had to win against UE.
Yes, true.
They had to win against the Adamson. And as you know, yung mga ganyan, that sharpens you
Yes.
going into the Final Four. Okay, you talked about the bench, UP, the strength. What can, sa Ateneo naman, you talked about their confidence, but what, from a schematic or tactical standpoint, since kayo, you always scout these
Yeah.
teams,
Yeah.
what do they have that they can parang bring to the table that will really challenge UP?
Yeah.
If Ateneo could lessen the easy points of UP from turnover points, fast break points, second chance, I call those regalo. Those are gifts. Those are energy, effort plays.
Right.
So if you could lessen those and try to keep at pace against UP, I think they have a good chance.
And Ateneo feels like a more focused team kapag knockout yung usapan because when it comes playoff, parang mas
Yes.
hyper-focused. And I think we saw that against Adamson.
True.
Now, looking at the other matchup here, LaSalle and NU. LaSalle, numbers-wise at least, when you look at their offense, when you look at the production that they do have, for NU, the question will be here, really stopping LaSalle because they actually have okay defensive numbers. How do you look at this matchup? And where can NU cause an upset here?
Well, LaSalle right now is on its 8th winning streak.
Yeah,
They're the hottest team right now.
hottest team
right now. They're the number 1 scoring team. Average is at 80. And NU's around number 4. So if NU somehow can keep the scoring below 70, I think they could play a real...
Yeah. You take a look at that group and there is going to be key players to watch here.
Yes.
Itong si Kevin Cambao in particular he's basically leading the race to make MVP.
Right.
The guy to stop him though, if you're looking at NU, I'm not quite sure who you would peg, but then you picked as a key guy here for NU is Jake Figueroa.
Jake
as well.
Figueroa. I mean, Jake Figueroa, when we play against this guy, when I watch him play, it's like he gets 14, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. That's a regular Tuesday for him. He plays the best guard of the other team, gets switched on the big guy.
Kaya pa rin.
Yeah,
Oo.
loves to mix it up.
Okay.
Very tough guy.
Okay, if you're NU or if you're a fan of NU, are you concerned na, like last year, Coach Mark, and you know this very well, medyo nagfo-falter sila sa dulo. Kasi lakas na simula nila. Exactly like last year, di ba?
Yes,
The same as this year. They maintained that 1-2 spot.
Yeah.
And then itong couple of losses going into a Final Four where they have the disadvantage, twice to beat disadvantage. Is that concerning? Or as a coach, these things don't matter to you? What do you think, Coach?
Yes and no.
Okay,
yes,
explain. Okay.
Yes, you kind of play it out. Yeah, you have a history of this. So you kind of try to fix or implement things that would work on certain areas, especially at crunch time. And no, maybe if the stake is that high, maybe players are out there to play. Players are out there to perform. Crunch time players, your go-to guys, will perform at that very night. So you're hoping for that.
Okay.
And now to shift the focus on LaSalle a bit here because as we mentioned a while ago, hottest team in the
Yes.
league so far, 8-game winning streak, swept the second round. And a lot of people are saying they're peaking at the right time.
Right time.
But do you feel, Coach, you've seen them, you coached against them, you've seen the scouting reports, we've seen all of their personnel. Have they reached their peak or do you feel that may isa pa silang level?
I think they have another level to come to because of the type of play that they're doing, and I'm sure Coach Robinson, Topes Robinson, will prepare them really, really well.
Okay, but if you're the opposing coach and you have been the opposing coach,
Yeah.
what are, ayaw naman gamitin yung word na weaknesses, pero what are things that probably you can take advantage of, even with a rolling team like LaSalle, di ba?
Yeah.
Marami. UP's number 1, I'm sure merong mga things that Ateneo will try to take advantage of. Same with NU. What are things that they can take advantage of LaSalle, even if they have this 8-game winning streak? Sa tingin mo, Coach, knowing this team so well.
Yeah.
I'll try to give Kevin Cabiao different looks.
In terms of defense?
Defense,
Yeah.
yeah. If I could make him more of a scorer, somehow.
Parang Nikola Jokic style.
Yeah, kasi he does a lot of things eh.
Yeah.
Di ba? He does a lot of things.
Facilitate.
Facilitates and ano.
So gusto mo, kung ikaw kalaban,
Yeah.
Only one person.
Sige. Your show. Go.
okay.
Make him score more.
Interesting.
At least make him a jump shooter.
Okay.
You don't want him to at the low blocks, especially at playoffs, which I want.
Yeah.
Diba? Especially pag playoffs, gusto mo the nitty-gritty physical type of game.
Right.
So if I could make him or push him out of his comfort zone, make him a jump shooter, make him take more shots, I think that'll be a key.
Yeah.
Pa, may I just
Go
ask
ahead.
naman, pagdating sa NU, even with the faltering or the losing streak right now, going into the Final Four, what's working for them, in your opinion? What's a positive thing to take?
Their defensive grit.
Yeah.
It's always been there. Parang they find ways somehow to make their defensive stops. Consecutive stops. Somehow it doesn't translate to their offensive side of thing. But defensively, they're very attuned.
Yeah, hindi nawawalan ng effort even though they're in losing streak.
They like it
yeah.
in the mud.
Yung
In the mud.
mahirap na.
Before we move on from this, Coach, I want to go circle back to UP and Ateneo really quick because we didn't get a chance to talk about yung mga key players
Yes,
sa
let's
ni
go.
Coach. And
Napakadami.
napakadami, but we're gonna zoom in on two. Malik Diouf and Jared Brown. Why those guys in particular?
Of course, Diouf, reigning MVP. It's like if he can dominate his part of the game, the rebounding, running, rim runs,
Blocking.
and blocking shots. UP has the advantage, of course. And with Brown, if he can shoot.
No, he did the other day.
Yeah, he did against Adamson. And
Wow.
as you can see, I was watching the game, then I look at the scoreboard and Ateneo up by 18 with Balungay only having 3 points.
Correct.
Yeah.
And Amos having only 6 or 7 right there. So
It was
if you
Brown.
could, if you would perform that way, I mean,
And he was a bounce back game for him. He had 1 out of 12 against
Before that
LaSalle,
game.
di ba?
Okay, yeah, before that
Previously. So talagang gustong bumawi doon. So it's going to be interesting tomorrow.
True.
For both UP versus Ateneo and LaSalle versus NU, with LaSalle being the twice to beat and UP being the twice to beat this year. All right, Coach Mark, dyan ka lang. Because after the break, we'll look at the comeback and catch-up cruise in the NBA 2023 to 2024 season. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back to The Game. We always say that the NBA is full of surprises, but this season seems to be all topsy-turvy when it comes to the standings. While it's, of course, still a long way to go, let's take a look at the peaks and valleys of the ongoing 2023-24 season with our friend, basketball analyst, Coach Mark Isip. Let's talk about the ano ba gagamitin natin? Overperformers ba?
Overperformers,
Yun
yeah.
talaga. Sige, yun ang gamitin natin. Or you may disagree, Coach Mark, but please let us know. Let's start with Minnesota Timberwolves. Did you see this coming? Are they overperformers? If they are, what is the explanation?
Somehow you could see it coming because of the emergence of Anthony Edwards
Okay. Yeah.
and his stint with the national team.
Okay. Yeah.
The USA, he performed well. This FIBA.
Yeah. And we're seeing that right now. His numbers on the screen here improved by a couple of points, rebounding just a bit better, assisting a bit better. Pero
But more than the numbers, no?
Yeah.
Parang he has impact and parang he has a little more control over this team.
yeah,
Ano?
I have a question here because for Coach Mark, because it feels like the Timberwolves are just an older group right now. Dati Timber Pops yung tawag sa kanila because they were such a young group. But then with the additions of like Gobert, Conley coming into the mix, you'd understand how veteran presence could actually accelerate the team's development. I'm
Yes,
sure.
of course. A good mix of veterans and rookies, especially at the locker room, on everyday practice, makes a huge impact overall.
First round exit last year,
Last
last
season,
season.
Yes.
Very disappointed Anthony Edwards coming
Yeah,
out.
Edwards,
Diba?
yeah.
Remember, he
Yeah.
was so disappointed with that. But where do you see them going? How far do you see them going? If you will make a little bit of prediction for Minnesota.
If they could play against at least second round.
Okay.
Second round.
Yeah, I see that.
You
Second round, yeah.
Siyempre,
Yeah.
depende sa matchup.
Oh,
din
so
yan.
depende sa matchup,
Depende.
exactly.
Yeah, right.
Oh, pero
right.
what a start here, 11-3. So let's go to the team now that's 11-4 in the OKC Thunder. The OKC Thunder, taking a look at the SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a lot of people are saying that, okay, he's the guy, he's the star,
Yes.
and he'll take the team as far as he can. But when you take a look at teams that are relying on siguro one guy, or at least that one guy is the ceiling of a team, how dangerous is that, and how important is it for other guys to step up around their face of the franchise?
I think Shai has the ability to make his teammates be a part of the success of their team. He has the ability to do that. He has shown this back in FIBA.
Yeah, correct. Yes, he did.
Canada. He played also well there.
Right.
Significant role.
Siya talaga.
Yeah, leadership role.
Yeah, right.
They got the first, diba? Bronze
Yeah.
of their.
Yeah, and it's
over
history.
the USA. Yeah, that's history for them.
And of course, now Chet Holmgren is playing for them, which is a big deal because he's been playing well.
Rookie of
Pao.
the Year candidate.
He's been playing well.
1 and
so
2 against
Yeah,
Wemby.
Right,
1-2 against
exactly.
Wemby.
1-2.
Parang hindi
Yeah.
nagpapadaig, di ba?
Yes,
The
yes.
way he's been playing
Very competitive.
this year. Okay, well, who's our next team? OKC.
Orlando.
Abangan ka na yung OKC.
OKC, I'm excited to see how the race actually for Rookie of the Year, because
Yes.
that might reflect how OKC is doing in the season. I want to talk about the Orlando Magic as well, because they're 10-5.
I love
10-5
them.
right
Yeah.
Not a lot of people talk about them enough,
Yep,
I
yep.
feel. And you talk about the Orlando Magic, a young team that took a while to come together, building through the draft, that siguro yung patience ng fan base was stretched, but it feels like it's paying off now.
Coaching changes pa.
Oh,
all of
coaching
that,
changes,
yeah.
right.
Yeah, I mean, like building through the draft, mahirap yon. I'm sure you also understand that. But then, how does that work? Like, when does a team start becoming good when they build through the draft?
Somehow they drafted the right players, especially this guy Franz Wagner,
Yeah.
who played in Germany.
Also, yeah.
They won the gold. This
Ang
last
magkapatid.
FIBA.
Oh,
Yup,
yeah.
yup.
Brothers of Wagner. It's a hit and miss when you try to draft guys. There's not a sure thing. But for now, with the Orlando Magic, it seems to be working.
Yeah, 100%. And again, this is a very early in the season.
Although I personally, when I was watching them last year against the tougher teams last year, towards the end, especially this season, I really saw glimpses of them coming together. Parang sa dulo na lang sila nagkakatalo.
Yes,
Yeah.
A mark of a young
Yeah,
team
team.
again. And of course, we have to mention Paulo Banquero, another,
another young
national
player,
team,
national team
player
And
who's
played
playing
very
very
well.
well.
Very well.
Excited for Orlando.
Of course, still more to talk about, Coach. So we won't let you go yet, because after the break, we'll move over to the hottest competition in the NBA, the NBA in-season tournament. Stay tuned. You're watching the game. Welcome back to the game. The in-season tournament of the NBA is heating up as the slots advance and quarters is slowly filling up. Now, let's talk about some of the crucial matchups here with basketball analyst Coach Mark Isip. Coach, we talked about the Magic a while ago, so let's talk about them here again. They're going up against one of the pound-for-pound best teams in the NBA, in the Boston Celtics. And we talked about how young this group is. How tough will it be for a young group like that to take down a Boston Celtics team who is running hot here, solo number 1 with a 2-0 record dito sa grupo nila?
The favorites, Boston, diba? With Tatum, Brown, and Porzingis. I mean, it's going to be a top matchup for the Orlando Magic. The veterans versus the young blood, the experienced versus the inexperienced. So let's see how's it going.
All right, you saw the numbers out there, and just to break it down, Jaylen Brown, 26 points, Jason Tatum, 23 points, Kristaps Porzingis, when he's playing, 21 points a game. Pero sabihin din natin, Coach Mark, hindi magpapatalo itong Orlando because they did take down a big Denver Nuggets team just recently.
Yeah, they did.
So it's very possible because of Wagner and Banchero, correct?
Banchero,
Yeah, just so for everyone who's wondering, if Orlando wins, it's going to be a triple tie between the 3 teams. So, sobrang must-win situation to.
Okay, and to mention the numbers of Franz Wagner, 27 points, and si Banchero, 23 points in that game against Denver.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, right? So that's a big one. After they lost, I think their Brooklyn matchup, they won 2 straight. So Orlando in the mix there. Okay, who's our next team?
So let's focus here on Sacramento and Minnesota because we just talked about Minnesota.
Coach Jimmy Alapag!
Oh, Coach Jimmy Alapag. So are we automatically rooting for Sacramento? But
Jimmy Alapag,
Coach, you take a look at this. 2 undefeated teams and going up against each other, top of the table, clash here sa grupo nila. And when you look at Minnesota trying to show everyone that they're for real, how important is that against a Sacramento team who we all know is already legit based on what we've seen?
Yeah, I think Anthony Edwards, if he wants to cement his position as an All-NBA All-Star right here, he can lead at this moment, especially when it counts.
Yeah.
He could lead his team. Truly a big boost for his team.
All right, De'Aaron Fox, 26 points. Domantas Sabonis, 23 points. May Harrison Barnes pa. I keep forgetting about him. I don't know why, but I keep forgetting about him. 22 points for him. And of course, Anthony Edwards. They had also that big win over a rolling Philadelphia 76ers recently. 31 points. Si Kat, isa pa yan na bumisita rin
Kat
dito.
Anthony, yeah.
23 points. Okay, quickly, just before you go, Coach Mark, quick prediction. Boston versus Orlando. Who's winning?
Boston.
Sacramento versus Minnesota. Who's winning?
I want Minnesota.
Okay, so
You want Minnesota, but will they?
Yeah.
Okay, sige,
Yari
Minnesota
ka
na tayo.
kay Coach Jimmy! Yari ka kay Coach Jimmy!
All right. Coach Mark, maraming salamat. We really appreciate you coming over and sharing all your knowledge, and we hope to have you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
And of course, you can catch the games and our show live and on demand on the Pilipinas Live app for just 149 pesos a month. Thank you for joining us. Happy weekend! I'm Boom Gonzalez.
And I'm Paulo De Rosario. This has been The Game.
It's Friday.